the President had invited the opposition party leaders for a discussion on the IMF program. I was the only member of the opposition present today. The President was there, the Prime Minister, the Leader of the House, the two State Ministers of Finance, the Governor Central Bank, the Secretary to the Treasury were also present. I raised a number of concerns with regard to the IMF program that is being implemented. Apparently, there will be another meeting directly with the IMF representatives, but today was the initial discussion with only the government. Primarily, the concern that I raised was that there is a lack of transparency with regard to these recommendations that the IMF has made. In the lack of transparency arises in this way that there are no published technical assistance reports of the IMF. Those are the analytical basis as to why they make some of those recommendations. With regard to revenue increase, I raised as example the question as to why withholding tax rate was not increased to immediately raise revenue. But based on the fact that there is the revenue authorities are not collecting targeted taxes, the VAT rate was increased to 18%, which affects all the people, particularly the poor in the country. And there was no adequate response to that as to why that was done. Similarly, number of other issues, particularly prior action that was identified, highlighted 15 of those that have not been done at all to date, which ought to have been completed by February 2024. And the government's response was that in discussion with the IMF, they have got extensions of time. But most importantly, the issues are with regard to these technical assistance reports that are given by the IMF to the government. IMF's policy is that they can publish it only with the consent of the government. And I asked the government whether they can give consent to the IMF to publish it, and the President and the ministers agreed that those reports can be given to us. So since I was the only member present today, they agreed to give it to me and also to any opposition party leader who requests for it. It is only after receiving those technical assistance reports, which hopefully will contain some analysis as to why IMF has made certain recommendations, that we can then decide whether this program can be supported or not. As it is, we are unable to support the IMF program for primarily for lack of transparency and also for the reason that most of these measures are impacting on the poor and the vulnerable and are letting the rich and the powerful get away scot-free.